Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to CP workshop. If you are wondering, you have never signed up for this particular workshop, looking at the title, yes, we have a different title than what's published. I will talk a little bit about that first. So, welcome. My name is Kurian Tharakunnel. I'm the Executive Director of Research and Institutional Effectiveness here at Triton College. And my co-presenter is in Lemberg. He's the Director of Early Alerts and Intervention. So the first part of this workshop, we are going to, again, we both would be talking about data in general. Then we will go into an exercise that use data. So that's going to be the plan. So the second part, we would be, you would be working, you would be talking more than we talking to you. So with that, so what's the title says? This title is called Strategic Plan Goal 1, Action Plan 1 workshop, because this is part of the Strategic Plan 1 Goal 1 action. So this is one of the action steps of that action plan. So what is this Strategic Plan Goal 1? Strategic Plan Goal 1 is basically about teaching and learning. So innovation in teaching and learning to improve retention, recruitment, retention, and completion. Within that goal 1, we have an action plan 1, which is more about faculty. So providing faculty with the knowledge and resources to improve retention, persistence, retention, completion in all areas of studies. So that's the action plan 1, and we have a committee for that action plan 1, and I chair that committee, and we have many of our members here, Denise, Daniele, Merlu, Chai, Panos, so they're all here, so I'm basically representing the committee to present this to you. So we talked about this workshop in our last meeting and talked about how exactly we want to conduct this workshop. So, this is our committee, and these are our committee members. As you can see here, we have the faculty workshop as one of the action items here. And we have other actions too based on these different meetings. We are doing similar workshops, similar faculty training at different avenues, especially at the department meetings as well as in other avenues available to us. So based on the feedback we get, especially about what kind of data resources, additional data resources we need, we are going to work on that next year as part of the strategic plan, again, action plan 1. So that's the plan. And this is our wonderful committee. So that's about the title, and that's about how this particular workshop was planned or imagined. With that, so I'm going to start with what's called Triton institutional data resources. What data, institutional data, are available to faculty that could help with retention and completion. And not just retention and completion, I'm going to show you a wealth of data available to our faculty in all these different, under these topics. So enrollment, retention, and graduation rates, course success, program enrollment and program completion, course placement information. If you want to know about Triton district demographics, student engagement, survey results, for example, community college survey of student engagement, SENSE, that's another survey on student engagement. Student satisfaction survey, we conduct student satisfaction survey every year, and the results and the reports are available for last several years. Then we also have how our data, our metrics compare with other institutions nationally. So we had national benchmark data, specifically from National Community College Benchmark Project, or NCCBP. That's also available. So with that, so where these data are available, that's what I'm going to show you first. So the data, there is a single gateway to all this data that's on the portal. So let me go to the portal. Okay, so if you go to the portal,
You can just hit the little refresh, or clicking just to the bar and hit enter. Yeah, click in there and then just hit enter.
okay.
Maybe it's down.
We'll have to do one more login, possibly. There is something to me. This is important.
And if you switch over to Chrome, I think you're in Firefox now.
Oh. Okay. Okay, it's here. So if you go to the portal under the employee resources, you have a research link, and that's our page on the portal for the research department. And if you scroll down, there is a section called Documents, and that's where you have all the reports available. So, for example, under this folder, 10th day enrollment reports, that's the enrollment as of 10th day for fall, spring, as well as summer. So you can see the enrollment reports available for last several semesters, fall semesters or spring semesters. So that's available here. So let's say if you click on one of them, let me pick one, latest one. The latest one is spring 2024, 10th day report. So this is detailed information on the enrollment. So by college, by course, then also you have the retention information. At the last page, you will see fall 23 to spring 24 retention information, retention rates. So a whole lot of information there in the 10th day report. Then video. Course success rates, another folder where you have course success rates information is available. The latest one is for fall 23. So this is detailed information on success rates for different courses and also the institutional statistics about course success rate. For example, fall 2023, the overall institutional course success rate is 75%. So you get that information there, and we have identified top 20 highest enrolled courses as well as the lowest success rate courses. So high enrollment, low success courses are listed here. So that gives you an idea of what courses you need to focus on in terms of the success rates. So I don't plan to go into every detail, every report available here, but as you can see here, there is fact book available that provides a lot of information about the institution itself. High school placement report, how the students from our high school, industry high school, are placed into reading and writing. That information is available here. Graduate success report, that's about how successful our graduates are in terms of employment as well as transfer to other institutions. Then, as I mentioned, the NCCBP or National Community College Benchmark Project, benchmark information, high school market share information, that's the what percentage of our district high school students really come to Triton for their education. So that's the high school market share information. Then survey results, like community college survey of student engagement. The latest one is 2018, but currently we are administering 2024 survey. Every 3 years we administer this survey, and this provides a lot of information about student engagement. We survey faculty also. You would have received an email this morning from the president about community college survey of faculty survey of student engagements, that's CCFSE. So that's a companion survey to community college CCFSE survey. So a lot of information there. I don't want to go into each individual report, but basically I want to show you where it is available in a nutshell, what information is available in these reports. So those are the PDF reports or the information available in PDF form. But if you come to the Triton research website, research page, you have a button here called Access Track. Track stands for Triton Reports and Analytics Center, which is our online platform for providing data interactively. So a lot of this information, like course success rates and things like that, are available as dashboards and other interactive way. The interactive reports are available there. So this is available. We are trying to provide access to our faculty. It's full-time faculty by this fall, but currently it is available to all department chairs and administrators. So we are slowly rolling it out to all full-time faculty, at least by this fall. So I just want to show you what's available there. So in this platform, we have several reports available. For example, course success. This is easier to navigate because it's interactive. So, for example, course success rates. Course success rate trend for last several semesters. You can filter by school, course, and course delivery mode, or co-requisite, or standalone. All these you can filter by different. You can filter it different ways here. That's course success rate. Then course success rates by student groups. Again, you can filter. The good thing about this particular dashboard is you can see the underlying data, where it is coming from. When you hover over the bars, it shows the details too. Then course withdrawal rates. What percentage of students are withdrawing from courses? So institutionally in 2023, fall 2023, 14.6% of students actually withdrew from the courses with a W. That's what is shown here. So for the last several fall semesters and last several spring semesters, again, you can filter by school, subject, course. So you can interactively look up this information. Then there are many dashboards available for enrollment management. For example, we have a daily retention tracker for first-time students. So as of today, for fall 2023 students retained in spring, full-time students, 79.9% of those students are retained. Part-time, 56.9% of those students are retained out of the 522. So that's one under the enrollment management. Then we have, this is used by our admissions office a lot. For example, spring 20, what's called the funnel reports. So for example, summer enrollment, if you look at the summer enrollment, getting a little bit more time to load. So out of 757 completed applications, we have so far 96 students enrolled. 227 have completed the placement test, and so total applicants 757. So that information is daily updated, and this is something our admissions office is using daily. So then we have program level enrollments. For example, we have program profile dashboard that shows for a particular program. Say, for example, automobile. How many and what's the total head count in all of automobile programs? And full-time students, part-time students, what percentage is the male, female, and in district, out of district. Then for each individual program, say for example, if you want to know for the AS program, just click on that bar. The profile will give you it will give you the profile for that particular program. So 143 students in that program, and the age distribution, race, ethnicity distribution, all that is available here. So that's program enrollment. Then program enrollment trend. So for last 10 years, 5 years, the enrollment in the program by school, department, and academic program. So that's available here. You can filter by school and get that information. So the last 5 fiscal years. Or enrollment by term, that's available here on another tab. So that's all about the program enrollment information. There's a lot to look up there. Then program completion. So how many students have completed these programs over the last 5 years, 5 fiscal years. And institutional data, so number of completers overall and number of degrees and certificates awarded. Again, you can go by program area. So for example, architecture, how many students have graduated over the last 10 fiscal years, and now how many degrees or certificates we have, they have completed. So that's program completion trend. And as you can see, there's a lot to explore here. So I just want to show you how you can access this data once you have access. If you don't have access, please let me know. I can probably give you access. We have some licenses available. This is based on the licenses for this particular platform. So if you would like to have access to this particular platform, just let me know. I can give you access. But by fall, we are planning to provide access to all faculty, full-time faculty. So that's basically I want to show you in terms of the availability of data, the data resources available in terms of institutional data. Now, I would like to turn it over to Jason to talk about student level information. This is institutional data. It's all the statistics at the institutional level. What Jason is going to talk about is at the student level, what data is available. Again, that can help you with retention and completion. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Kurian. So Kurian kind of presented big picture data, and I want to do a quick snapshot into the main database that I manage right now, CRM Advise, but then also the databases that it links to and the information you can acquire from that. All the information that Kurian presented and all the data comes from the university's kind of main warehouse, college. And that data then filters also into CRM Advise, and some of the information is readily accessible. Same way that Kurian's talking about, not all faculty have access to, but there are plenty of licenses currently available. And I know that right now we have Panos and Justina shoved into the system and let them play around. So I'm going to show you a little bit about it. If you have questions, stop me as we go. I'm going to jump right away to, so if you're on the portal, you're going to be going through, so usually either through Blackboard or the portal, most faculty are accessing the retention alerts, and that's just submitting the retention alerts. The retention alerts that faculty submit are going into the main database, which is CRM Advise, and that's actually listed in the same card in here, which is just Advise for Advisors. You click on that, you don't have access, send me a message, we can check in. We're going to go through it today. So if you click on that, it'll take you to this wonderful page. This is my dashboard, and this is basically me monitoring retention alerts that come in. Wanted to show just kind of what we're seeing when they come in, but then as you go into individual student profiles, where I'm going to spend most of my time. But I do read all the alerts that come in, all the fun comments. Some people have better comments than others. Some are funny. Some are a bit fascinating to view. We're going to go to the random student. I have to go into random student, so I'm going to ask everyone to respect the privacy of the student information that I'm presenting here. The only way to do this is by going into an individual student. I trust that you guys all can keep it in this room. If you see anything, let's talk. So, student profile. Student profile is going to have a few really important things that show up right away when you're looking at a student profile. You're going to have the basic information at the top, and you're going to have a quick snapshot of the student themselves. Right here, it's going to tell you some of the basic information. I'm going to right away tell you that if you go into an individual student's profile, student success score is not something as an institution we're using right now. It may be in the future, but it requires a whole other session, whole other conversation. We're not even there yet. So we're going to skip through. It's going to give some basic information, but we're going to fly further down. But an individual student's profile, it's going to give you a snapshot into their current enrollment or their current course load. I'm also going to show you a different way to get into student planning in a second. But then it's also going to then break down any activities, any communication that's happening within CRM Advise between advisors and the student, between faculty and the student. If they're using the system, get logged in here. It's actually one of my dreams for this system. The power of the system is that it can be a central location for communication with the student and it allows anyone that supports that student to then check in on past communication streams with that student. That's a dream of mine that we'll one day hopefully get to. Also then touches in their active student programs. This is actually a fun one to glance at too. One of the things we're working on is that students that are in the system with multiple programs. But quick snapshot there. Then we move further down. It's going to give you, here we go. Student success team. If you're looking at an individual student's profile, a student success team is their advisor. It's listed in the system. The advisors are associated with the student based on the program. Justina and Panos were entered into here to kind of test it out to see how we can associate with them as we onboard the new retention specialists in business and tech. Their names will be kicked off with the students, but we'll leave you guys in the system, don't worry. I know Panos will probably come from my head if I took away any access to information from him. And then the further you go down, you can see this is where you get the detailed information about the student in terms of abs information, total credits earned, current GPA, phone number. This is where all the student info lives in Serum Advise. Individual student profiles also link to, at the top of their page, the student planning. And that's student planning with self-service. And student planning allows you to get even deeper into student data and student information, which will allow you to go into, everyone here played with this before? Those of you shaking head no are exciting to me. That means like this shows some fun stuff. This could be a whole other session itself as well. But as I started, Colleague is the university's warehouse, and we have a bunch of different systems that pull that information and present it in different ways. So student planning, self-service, is part of the big experience, the Ellucian experience. But same information that was in the student profile in Serum Advise shows up in here in terms of the courses the students enrolled in. But then you can start really seeing some fun stuff in terms of the students' progress in their program specifically, they're registered in the program, and then you can go into even test scores and grades from past programs. So in terms of Kurian's kind of big picture data, that information is coming from Colleague and fed into different places, and then presented here in terms of individual student support. Questions on any of this? And I have one more thing I'd want to touch in here. Thoughts, comments, concerns? Glorious. All right, so we'll go real back. So when I say that I am kind of landing board, the dashboards, this is my other favorite part of this system, is so we can start to customize your view in the system. Oh, clicked on the wrong one. And so my best example is we can create start to create dashboards that have glimpses into individual classes that can help you give specific information. So the way that Serum Advise gathers student information is based on the query set. So it's going to use a query, and then that query is going to pull the information you want to know based on a certain category. And so in this case, I've used this one to, we'll give an individual. This is the one I wanted to see. So I had Sam Schmidt asked if I could create a dashboard just out of curiosity that had individual student lists, and then with each of his students, it would break down their GPA currently, because he was just curious to check in on it. So all of these were the courses that he had currently enrolled in those specific classes, and it's a roster with just more information. It's a fun way to take all that big level data that Kurian is presenting in these beautiful graphs. This is just taking a really kind of keyhole view of customized views that you want to see of that information, similar to the dashboards that Kurian is running. This is just another way to see that. Questions on any of this? This is fully part of my job, by the way, and so I have a lot of people that I am currently working on dashboards for. So if this is something that interests you, for sure, let's talk about this.
Exactly that question. Are you the only one who can create customizable?
No, if you have access to the system, you can make your own dashboard. my sales pitch is usually, I will make it for you. If you don't want to make it, you just tell me what you want in it. Or if you're the type of person that loves to get in there and nerd out and play around with it, you have full control to do that too. You would just need to reach out to make sure that you have access to the system. And then it's fully available. I have, like, the conversation that I was having with Sam Schmidt, Christopher Klein was in the same conversation, had no interest in touching any of it. He was like, I won't even want to press some of those buttons. It's like, cool. Questions? Cool.
Okay. Okay, so I'm back. So if I were you, at this time, I will have this question after listening to all this talk about data. So what? You have all this data. I talked about institutional data, and this has shown some student level data. But what exactly we can do with this data? So we are going to spend another 20 minutes. We have about 20 minutes trying to see what we can do about that. So basically what we have done so far is just the data part of it. We talked a lot about institutional as well as individual student data. But to use the data, even before we talk about data, we need to really have something like this, which I would call a question. It could be a research question, it could be a research, you can call it whatever you want to, but it's research problem, a purpose, goal, whatever that is. You start from there, then you seek data, okay, whatever data you want to look into. But you need to have a purpose, you need to have a goal there. So I'm going to give you a goal, and then we are going to see how data could be used for that particular purpose. So once you have the data, then you go into look into the insights that are coming out from the data, and then from the insights you go into the actions. So this is what I, for our purposes, call a process. This is, I call this as the process, and it might look very easy, but it's not easy. So this is not an easy process at all. We have the data, we could get overwhelmed by the data. We may have a purpose, but how do we go into the insights? And more importantly, how insights can be turned into actions. That really needs a lot of experience, or at least you need to develop those skills. So we are going to see, I'm going to put you through that experience within that limited time of 20 minutes. We are going to look at some specific data. First, I'm going to talk about it, that question part of it, then I'm going to provide you with some data, then we are going to actually experience this process. So the question is, I want you to imagine it is August 2024, first week of August 2024. So what you would be doing, or the faculty here, what you would be doing in August, first week of August 2024. In 2 weeks, the classes are starting, and if you haven't thought about your syllabus, your class planning, that's the time you might want to start planning for your classes. You have 5 courses, 3 are, you have been teaching those 3 courses, but 2 are new. So you really want to plan those for those 2 courses. And you want to use probably some new strategies, especially in terms of retention. You haven't seen a lot of good retention in your class sections, or maybe you have good retention in all of your classes, but those new course sections, you're not sure. So you might want to use some new strategies for retention. If that's the case, what new strategies can be used to improve retention or retain that retention level, all that. So that's what I would like you to do. That's your question. And I'm going to give you some data. So this is the time Jason is going to distribute this handouts. So I'm going to give you a little more information about the data you are going to see. This is what I call the theory, the story of course withdrawals. Course withdrawals is a very important aspect of the overall retention strategy. And institutionally, we have high retention withdrawal rates. And we have been doing a lot of research on our withdrawal rates. And for example, these are the counts, withdrawal counts for the last several semesters. And this gives you the withdrawal rates for different student groups for the latest 2 semesters. And another piece of information related to the withdrawals. When students withdraw from their courses, they have a chance to enter a reason for withdrawal. So those reasons for 4 semesters are provided here. Not all these reasons are student entered. For example, the first 2 are basically system provided, in the sense instructor termination. Instructor terminated the student, or the final grade, the last week of semester, the student is withdrawn. So, or there is no reason at all. But you can see for the 4 semesters, you can see the reasons and the counts. Why 2019 and 2023? 2019 is pre-COVID and 2023 is the latest. So we are looking at those counts. And again, another piece of withdrawal information. The timing this is for fall 2023. How many withdrawals under different reasons, student entered reasons? That gives you the timing information for withdrawals. For example, you will see not satisfied with the course, LCT, or it's hard, unable to keep up. That's peaking here in October, around that midterm time. You'll see that here. So that's timeline of withdrawals. Then this table, this is on the last page of the handout. You will see an important connection between what Jason was talking about, the early alerts and withdrawals. This is for fall 2023. This is only as part of the data. So all those students who had entered a reason for withdrawal, this table provides the withdrawal reason, withdrawal date, the alert that student received for that particular course, and the alert date. So you can see, Jason says this is fascinating to look at. That provides how things have unfolded for the students who have withdrawn. And that's about withdrawals, but we are not just looking at withdrawals, but we are looking at some success part of it, student success. We are looking at, this is again a sliver of data, the students who have received a final grade of A or B, and the early alert date and the early alert they received. So you can see the complete picture of early alerts and what date they received and what's the final outcome. For example, the second student. In September, that student received an alert called at risk of failing the course. But then October, student received 2 applauses. That is positive reinforcement. So, and the final outcome is a grade A. So you can actually see how alert is playing probably. This is a sliver of data. Then we are looking at the other end of the grades or other end of the outcomes. The final grade of D and F and alerts. how so for example, you will see a progression of how faculty is responding and students probably not taking care of that, or it's not working, and finally you have an outcome of D or F. So you'll see the trail of failure, I call this particular table. So
A few things in here too that stand out.
yes,
So
sure, yeah.
Three really important things I think stand out in here. One of those is not directly on here, but I think one, the direct faculty feedback that would really inform things that could change is the positive alert submission. We only have one positive alert submission. We have currently 14 alerts of it possible to be submitted. We added 4 alerts for the spring semester based on faculty feedback that faculty wanted more nuance. Those alerts are being used in a really cool way right now. We would love more faculty feedback and send directly to me or have these conversations for more positive potential of the alert. The idea of what it means to give students a positive alert is really only going to come from faculty in terms of what would work in the classroom. So that's something that I would love for feedback. The other thing to point out to them is the alerts. We had one of the alerts that we changed for the spring. We shifted to having, instead of it coming from a general email advising at Triton.edu or financial aid at Triton.edu, it's coming directly from me. We are currently at somewhere between 50 to 60% response rate of those emails versus the other emails that have a response rate from the students somewhere under 10. Anecdotal for one semester, but it's not a fact that it's going to surprise anybody. The more personalization that the system can create, the more response we're going to get from students. The other final thing to see here is that clearly alerts aren't some kind of like panacea to fix all problems, right? We're not going to say the alerts are going to create automatic success. I do think, though, what this shows is there is a power in the alerts, in the positive and the potentially negative, in the sense that we still don't know the nuance of some of this information. And I think where the nuance pops out to me is the question that I would love to ask and go deeper and have faculty and research and all this work together is, does this student receiving an alert inspire them to change, or immediately deflate them and decide that they're done because the faculty has now told them that they're at risk of failing? We don't have that answer, but we have the data to potentially ask those questions. And I think that is something that we can have some really fun potential of taking this data and putting into actionable items. So I want to throw all of that at you guys because I think that's really informative of where we can start changing, especially going into fall.
Thank you, Jason. So this is the task. We have only 10 more minutes. So based on the data you have now, and also you can think about other data you might want to have, and then what could be the new teaching strategies you might want to use in fall based on this. I want you to focus, I have to be very clear about one thing. This is an experience. We are not trying to come out with the best strategy or best, come out with, we are not on a fact-finding mission here in this 10 minutes. It is to experience. So I would like you to focus on the process of it, okay? We are not trying to figure out what's the one thing that can take care of withdrawals. No, that's not. It is about that experience. This is what we would be focusing on: data to insights to action. If you think that you need some additional data, your wish is granted. You just imagine that you have that data, and what that data is going to be telling you, the insights. Again, you can make it up. So again, that's why I want you to focus on the process. So think about other data, insights, make it up. So it's basically a thought experiment rather than anything else. So just think next 10 minutes would be a thought experiment on this. And once you are ready, maybe at the end of 10 minutes, we'll have a little more time. I hope you can stay and share that strategies if you like. Those strategies, yes, There may be very good strategies we could use, but doesn't have to be. Again, the focus is on the process. Okay, so I would be Jason and I would be available if you have questions specific to any of that data you are seeing. Remember, it is the process. Okay. Oh yeah. So one thing is, if you want to partner with somebody, feel free to do that. We can help you with any data questions or.
Yes.
So is one risky one and one risky. The one
I would say that was
this one physically we can create a virtual profile for the control so there's even though our withdrawal this is what we discussed. So that here the students are withdrawing on the
That's true.
And then if you look at this, I think that the correlation that Jason was pointing out is an interesting one, but I think it's just a reinforcement, it's not a correlation. We have flawed students that are different. But if you look at this, the course mostly get their first early alert before school and the students that are saying after September, sort of was like this. Yeah, so it may be that the student that withdraws here has received an alert on October 20th. And this alert is for the past and so the students like, okay, yes, I haven't done anything. So they don't put the responsibility to work on it.
But
that would be my process here.
Yeah.
I want you to get involved.
And that's that I'm working infinitely we will struggle or obligated. They are, we have so I think I just need the example. I have my place in the retention area. I think I have I have to know every student. I had so I call her. She has that's true. When I get my copy of saying, hey, my name is Joe. Hey, what the hell? And I think that's where I because there are more people.
It's possible that So that probably has been I would say
Yeah, so like we had that person, he loved it. There's no like,
Every side.
so they
That was my go-to. I'd always Hector and just so you know this is coming. He was already calling us to me before. They even got that.
It'd be great for right? Those that also track that I think is important. And let me break down my and or hey, I just completed my degree. Like those
The students have.
yeah, so that's
Okay. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Do
they know about it?
Yes.
I think.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Is it always?
That's the part. So, they know.
Okay, I'm sorry that we don't have a lot of time. So do you want to share? Anybody want to share about any strategy looking at this? Yes, go ahead.
So I think one of the things that I suggest is to have some sort of assessments early on in the semester. So because a lot of the it seems like the first level of advising issue is attendance, right? But then it escalates quickly to, well, not so quickly, to grades are not so good.
Mm.
And that delay, I think, is a problem. If you can say, if you can show the student that because they're not making it to class, their assessments are not satisfactory,
Mm.
and do that as soon as possible, that would help them to see that their actions have consequences.
I will say that it's part of the pilot of not required. No one is required to submit the attendance, but the attendance that self-service is approaching that. And part of the pilot of having attendance happen within self-service is it then immediately feeds into this. It goes right into our system. And so the live tracking of attendance has the potential to do that piece where If anything, it gives a email to a faculty member or an advisor that a student has missed 2 classes. We haven't even had that conversation yet because we're still trying to make sure the system is working, but we have about 4 faculty right now that are submitting regularly, and it's still going to be very much in pilot mode, but that is, yeah, I think that I've heard that from a lot of faculty, and that led to the academic support committee doing it.
If the students are absent, does the email go direct to the students, like, warning that they are, like, having missed the class, or like some kind of alert goes around, or is it
Only if we
after?
tell it to. It's whatever we decide that we want to be set up.
Okay.
Right now, it has nothing because we haven't decided on any of those notifications.
You talking about
It's set
ABM or
it
just
in,
that specific one?
it's set in Blackboard, right? You can have an alert of like the student not attending any classes or missing a grade. The alerts are set.
I'm not entirely sure in Blackboard, to be honest. Blackboard is not the system that I'm working with, and Blackboard is
Turn it off.
the attendance piece in terms of feeding into the system doesn't actually feed into the system. So it may be for your individual class if you turn that on, but the attendance in Blackboard doesn't even feed into the system
Right now.
right now.
We did.
But it would take a lot of money to make happen again.
What percentage would you say the communication in response to the students is email versus a phone call?
Like that they respond to?
Know that when your group gets an alert, we respond to.
How exactly you're
Is
contacting
it,
students?
what percentage would you say?
Every-
Do you make
Yeah.
phone calls or is it all email?
No, so the business process that we currently have in place, the first form of communication is an email. The second form of communication is a phone call. So it's not like a one or the other, it just depends on if a student responds to one before that second attempt or third attempt happens. Does that make sense?
And we have a few advisors that are even kind of piloting the text message feature within the system as well. Yeah. I think that feeds into our conversation at this table too. It's like
Mhm.
we are not struggling with technological means of reaching out to students. We're struggling with the personalization that exists within that system. And so the difference between someone calling someone that's on their advising list but they've never met them versus someone sending an email and they meet with them once a week has an immediate different response rate. And I think there is the conversation we're having right now is how do you create the personalization before you build in the automation? And that's a hard conversation.
So, yes, so something to ponder over a new strategy, like earlier reassessment. I know probably some faculty members are already doing that. Earlier reassessment is something, a strategy that, like that, could be helpful. So, yeah.
I noticed the difference in retention and completion rates when we switched over to inclusive access, where the students had access to their instructional materials on day 1. So when I was teaching those classes, they were ready, right? And they could work on the assignments day 1, versus a class where they had to purchase a physical book on their own, or even online access on their own, but some of them were waiting for like financial aid. That has influenced the retention.
Very good point. Yes. You have seen that data. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts? We are 4 minutes past 4. So, any other thoughts? Any new strategies? Okay, so let's be brief. So what we have done, this is basically was a thought experiment. I wish we had more time. Maybe 20 to 30 minutes would have, 30 minutes would have been better. We have gone through that process. Remember that process from question, data, insights to action. And what do you think is the most difficult part of that process? Question, data, insight to action.
Having time to implement the changes.
having time. Okay, so the action part. That's very true, in fact. You can have all the insights but after looking at the data, you will get all kinds of insights, but how to put it into an action. So for example, in this case, a new strategy for it that could help you. So that's a very, very difficult thing to do, but that something comes with experience, looking at the data. So that's all I wanted to demonstrate here with this thought experiment. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have enjoyed it, please tell your faculty colleagues. There is another opportunity to attend this workshop. We are offering the same workshop on May 7th. Okay. Denise had something.
I was just gonna say, in addition to implementing, I agree. It's sometimes even in the insight part, you can have the data, but trying to understand and make the rationale of what's useful, what's intentional, and what is the outcome that you're hoping to get. And so for me, it's not even just the action, it's what am I processing, what am I trying to get, what is the data telling me, to then, okay, these are steps to now see how we can make that happen. Then, of course, then assessing again. But I
That's
think
true.
the entire process sometimes, depending on what you have available, as well as the other factors that may impact it, and then what you're trying to get out of it.
Very true again. That's where my office can help. That's part of our responsibility, how we surface that data and how we make it discoverable. So how easily users can really derive insights from the data we are providing. So visualizations, the way we provide, and also sometimes one-on-one consulting. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have more data questions. Thank you again. Thank you for spending the time here for this workshop. So please tell your faculty colleagues about this workshop. We have one coming up on May 7th.